Hello dear students, welcome to your SST class. So yesterday we have started with the reading portion from your book of chapter number 3, types of garment. So we have discussed yesterday the meaning of garment, then we have discussed the functions of garment, then the 3 levels, that is at the national level, state level and at the local level. Then we have also discussed the 3 organs of the garment, that is legislative, executive and the judiciary. And after that we have discussed some of the types of government. So it was monarchy, then we discussed about dictatorship, and then we discussed about the democratic form of government, which is the most popular form of government today. We also discussed the 2 terms, that is unitary and federal form of government, if you remember. So I have told you the meaning of unitary and federal, how the powers are divided between the central and the state government, and what type of government is there in the country India. So apart from that, I have also told you that there are various subcategories of democratic form of government, that is there is direct democracy or indirect democracy, and again indirect democracy, it is again subdivided into 2. Again we have parliamentary and the presidential form of government. So today we are going to read about all these other types of government. So are you all ready for that? Okay, so just open your books today on page number 220. So we have also discussed the definition of democracy by Abraham Lincoln, if you remember. Very important definition. I have asked you to mark it into your book. So can anyone tell me the definition by Abraham Lincoln? What is democracy according to him? Yes. Can I have the answer for this before I start my other types of government? Yes, Arav, can you answer me? Okay. So let me tell you, it is a government of the people, by the people and for the people. So this definition is very important and it should be included in your meaning of democracy also. If I ask you what is democracy, you will first tell me the meaning and then the definition, and of course the example of country India. Okay. Now coming to types of democracy on page number 222. First of all we will talk of today direct democracy, and then we will go to indirect democracy. So these are the 2 types of democratic form of government. Okay, so let's study about direct democracy and also sideways mark the important questions that come under this paragraph. So democracy is of 2 types, direct and representative. So indirect democracy is also known as representative democracy. In direct democracy, please underline, people make laws and policies by which they are governed. So who make laws in the direct democracy? We the people themselves. So there is no ruling power on their head, no representatives are there, they themselves frame laws and policies for them and they just apply those laws on them. So it is direct democracy, as the name suggests, direct power. This form is suitable for a country with a small population. So it is not possible to practice this type of democracy in a country which is very big like India. So where we have a few people or a small population, we can practice this over there. Now the another form is representative democracy, please underline, in which the elected representatives run the government. As the name suggests, representative. So who will govern the country here, rule the country? The elected representatives who we have elected through the process of voting. So that is what your indirect democracy, where the ultimate power is with the people, but it is not direct, it is indirect through the representatives. So that is why it is known as representative democracy. In this type of government, the leaders chosen by us become members of a body called the legislature. Please underline till here. So they are the elected members whom we have elected, and they become the members of the legislature, that is a law making body of the parliament. India is a good example of a representative democracy. So you also need to give one example, and we have a best example of this type of democracy is India. Okay. Next, coming to the types of democratic form of government, that is how is indirect democracy now divided into. So again, in a representative type of democracy, we have two main types of government called the parliamentary. So it is further divided into parliamentary, as the name suggests, parliament, and the presidential form of government. So who is the head? As the name suggests, again, president. So let's talk of parliamentary and presidential now. Okay. So parliamentary and presidential form of government are the two types of representative democracy. These two forms are different from each other, so they are very different. As the name only suggests, we have seen that. Okay. So the difference is based on the relation between the legislature and the executive branch of the government. Please underline. So what is the difference between these two types of government is based on the separate body of legislature and executive. So let's study about it. First we'll take the parliamentary form of government. Parliamentary form of government, please underline, there are two heads. One is the head of the state, that is country. Obviously we are talking of India, and one is the head of the government. So who is the head of the government? Prime Minister. All the powers are actually in his hand only. And who is the head of the state? All over, if we talk of, it is president. So please underline, in parliamentary form of government there are two heads. The head of the government is the Prime Minister, who is directly elected by the people as the members of the parliament. So he is also elected by the people only, as we elect the members of the parliament. Second is the president, the head of the state, please underline, who is indirectly elected. So it is not we people who elect our president. So you can be asked an important question, how is president elected? How is prime minister elected? So you will write this. President is not elected directly by the people, then how is he elected? Yes, he is elected through an electoral college. And why it is known as electoral college? Let's read. Okay. He or she is not elected by the citizens, as in the case of the post of the prime minister. The president is elected, please underline, very important, and you should know. The president is elected through an electoral college, means a group of people, or you can say members, those who have been elected in the parliament only, they are the elected members. So the president is elected through an electoral college made up of the elected representatives who are the members of parliament. So they are the elected members of the parliament, and actually they themselves elect the president. It is not in the hands of the people. We don't vote for the post of president, but the elected representatives of the parliament, they elect the president. It is called indirect. Now why it is called indirect? It is called indirect because the chosen representatives vote for him instead of us, because we do not vote for his post. It is our indirectly chosen. We have chosen our representatives, and actually they again re-elect him as their president. So it is indirectly he is elected. Okay. In the parliamentary form of government, the executive is a part of the legislative branch. Now very important. First of all I have discussed in case of legislature and executive. If we talk of the basic differences on the basis of legislature and executive. So in parliamentary form of government, the legislature and the executive are different. They are two separate bodies. We have already studied about legislature, the law making, and the executive means implementation of those laws, who takes care of. That is executive body. Please underline. So the head of the state, that is the country, is the president, who is not the head of the government. Now see, please underline. The head of the state, that is country, is not at all the head of the government, means he does not have any say in the parliament. If a law is passed by the parliament in both the houses of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then it becomes a law. Bill, if it is passed, then it becomes a law, and the president has to sign it. So we can say you will be studying in higher classes, he is just a rubber stamp. जैसे कि वो मोहर नहीं लगा देता कि हाँ चलो सबकी तरफ से पास हो गया, अब इसके ऊपर फाइनल मोहर लगानी है. So the president is just doing the job of that stamp. Okay. The head of the government who actually holds all the power, the prime minister, he is known as the head of the government, is the leader of the majority party. We have already discussed that one. If in the process of voting or in the elections, the party who wins the maximum or who gets the majority of the votes, that member takes the form of ruling power. So, and controls the executive, and he only controls the executive. India follows this form of government. So, which form of government do we follow in India? Again, if it is asked, you will answer 1 mark objective question, parliamentary form of government, where there is separate legislative and executive body. So, we will also mention that president is the head of the state and the prime minister is head of the government. This much you need to mention. Okay. Then we have the presidential form of government. Now what is it? Okay, please underline, in presidential form the legislature and executive are separate. So here they are just separate bodies. But in parliamentary form of government, we have legislature and executive, they all depend on one another. So if laws are made, then the execution has to pass it. It sees that the laws are actually implemented. So they just does the work of supervising, you can say, that the laws are basically implemented or taken into force. Okay, but here in presidential form of government, they are both separate. The president chosen independently for a fixed tenure is not responsible to the parliament. So here the president is not at all responsible to the parliament. The president is the real head of the state and enjoys more power as compared to the president of India. Here in the presidential form of government, as we have in the states of China, you can say, so here who has the sole power? It is the president, the head of the state. The president is only the policy maker and the legislature is the lawmaker. So who makes all the laws and the policies? It is the president, the legislative body. The executive, the legislature and the judiciary are separate. So they just do their own separate functions. So you will be studying all these things in detail in your higher classes. The functions of judiciary, legislature, executive. So how a bill is made into a law. All these things you will be studying in your higher classes. Okay. The president is all powerful. She is not responsible to the legislature and the electorate body. So how he is elected to that body, elected body, he is not at all responsible. She appoints his or her own team members. He just appoints for his help, for his assistance, his own members. It can be a list of maybe 5 to 10 members who are very, very trustworthy, his trustworthy members, and he can take his help. Their help in his decision making policies, but then their decisions are not binding on him. So he just appoints them for his help. Okay. Who are not the members of parliament. They are not the members of parliament. They are just his known members, you can see. The president is elected for a fixed term and can only be removed. This we have discussed yesterday. I have discussed the word impeachment if you remember yesterday. So I hope you remember. It is a difficult procedure through which our president can be removed. He can be removed only in case if he is seen that he is violating the laws of the constitution. So in India we have a constitution and it is just like our holy book of Ramayana and Gita and Mahabharata, as we have the two holy books, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So these are the two epics also. So it is just like those holy books. Constitution is given very, very importance. And if somebody violates the laws as mentioned in the constitution, then that person can be removed through the process of impeachment, means violation of law. So that if president does so, then he can be removed from his tenure, from his office. So this process is known as impeachment. And again, so many formalities are there that the president has to go through when he is removed from the office. Again, you will be studying in your higher classes. Okay. So this was about the parliamentary form of government and the presidential form of government. Here, all the three bodies are interdependent, whereas here the legislative and the executive body, they are just separate, and the members that the president elects is not from the parliament. They are just his known members. Okay. Then there was one term called universal adult franchise. So we have already seen so many videos based on this, right? If you remember, just tell me what is universal adult franchise. If we separate these into three different words, universal means all over India, adult means who are of 18 years and above 18 years of age, they are categorized under the term adult, and franchise comes from a French word franc, which means freedom. So it is a French word franc, which means freedom. So we assume that universal adult franchise means every citizen all over the country India who is 18 years of age or above can have the freedom to vote and elect the representative of his choice in elections. So this is what is universal adult franchise, and only that person can vote who is a citizen of India, number one, 18 years or above of age, and who is not insane. Matlab he should be having a mental balance. He should not be insane. पागल नहीं होना चाहिए. He should know what he is doing and what is he doing that for. उसका purpose क्या है उसको सब पता होना चाहिए. So he should not be insane. So these are the three criteria for your universal adult franchise, and it should not be on the basis of any inequality. All citizens, irrespective of caste, color, religion, region, they have the right to vote if they follow the three criteria that I have just told you. So let's see. Okay. Citizens of India, please underline who can vote. Citizens of India who are 18 years of age or above can cast their vote for the representative of their choice. Till here. For casting vote during elections, it is important that the name should be included in the voters list that contains the names of the people who can vote. So if you have seen during the elections, some of the party members, they come to your house and they just tally your name in the list that they have. So it is known as voters list. Your name should be registered in their list, only then you can vote. And they also make your voter ID cards if it is not there. So this is the process you need to follow. So since all citizens are equal, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, economic condition, that is whether you are rich or poor, doesn't matter. But then you should be fulfilling these three criteria and are given the equal right to vote, and we call it universal adult franchise. So till here you will write down the meaning of universal adult franchise if it is asked in your exams. Or even if it is, even a question is there at the back, so you will write till here, what is universal adult franchise? And this is the best example of equality, because every person can vote irrespective of these caste, color, creed, religion, all these things. Okay, now there is a small extract what Gandhiji felt. So let's read. According to Gandhiji, he wrote one journal. In the journal Young India in 1931, Gandhiji said, I cannot possibly bear the idea that a man who has got wealth should get the vote. So he does not want that person who is rich should get the vote, but a man who has got character, who should be of good character, but no wealth or literacy should have no vote. So he said that it is not necessary for me that the person who is not rich, who is poor or who don't know how to read or write, he doesn't have the right to vote. He also have the right to vote. Or that a man who honestly works by the sweat of his brow day in and day out should not have the vote for the crime of being a poor man. So he says, वो आदमी जो अपना खून पसीना बहाकर सारा दिन और सारी रात मेहनत करता है, I don't think that he don't have the right. He also have an equal right to vote, and he should not be punished for being a poor person on this earth. So he just fought for this cause that there should not be any inequality in the country like India. And he treated all citizens in the eyes of law as equal, and he even called the Dalits as Harijans, the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. You might have heard the 4 castes we had. So this we have already discussed also, and we will be doing so also in our history chapters. So let's not go to it in detail. In the earliest form of franchise, only educated or those who paid taxes were granted the right to vote. So now see the situation in the previous times, that is before independence. So only educated people, those who knew how to read and write, and those who paid the taxes, only they were granted the right to vote. Is it fair? No. This implied that women and the uneducated did not enjoy this right, as we have already discussed. So women were not allowed to vote, and even the uneducated, because they thought that they don't have a sense whom to judge and whom to vote. Okay. In India too, before independence, a limited minority decided the fate of the vast majority. So only the men were given the right to vote. The right to vote was not granted to women for a long time. However, a constitution framers realized the importance of equality for smooth functioning of democracy and granted the right to vote to all adult citizens of the country. So it was later on that when the constitution was framed in 1950, so it realized the importance of equality before law, and it granted the right to vote for all the citizens of India above 18 and those who are 18 years of age. So that is all about this chapter. So with this we finish this chapter also, and there are few multiple choice questions, so let's quickly do that. Which of the following is true? Democracy does not believe in equality. Is it so? We all are members of parliament, so which is not true, you have to tick on that. So democracy does not believe in equality. Is it true that democracy does not believe in equality? Does democracy believe in equality? We all are members of parliament, indirectly of course. Okay. We select some people and give authority and power to them to run the country. So is it that we elect those some people and we give the power to them to rule the country? No. So which one should be the correct? We all are members of the parliament. First and C are wrong. So we have to tick on the true one. So it is B option, that is true. Okay. When can we lead a safe and comfortable life in a country? When we have a government to dictate over us like dictatorship? No. When we have a government to make laws to keep order and discipline? Of course, yes. Or both A and B? No. A is not correct. So which is your correct option? B. When can we have a safe and comfortable life in a country? Okay. Again, read the sentences given below and tick the sentences that are correct. In the monarchical form of government, king or queen has absolute power to rule the country. Right or wrong? Yes. Sole power in the hands of the king and queen, and after his death, it passes into the hands of the son or daughter. The president in parliamentary form of government is elected directly. Is it so? Indirectly. So it is wrong. In a unitary form of government, the power is distributed between the center and the state governments. Is it so? Unitary means one single. So can the power be divided into two? No. So it is wrong. Universal adult franchise is the best example of equality. Of course, yes. So it is right. Okay. Two more on the next page. Which of the following is not a job of the government? It maintains law and order with the help of the police. Of course, it is the job of government. It deals with criminal cases and even solves disputes through courts, or both A and B. So you have to tell which is not a job of the government. So both A and B, it is not correct. A, we know it is correct. So which one is wrong? It deals with the criminal cases because it is a job of sole judiciary, courts. Okay, democracy is the best form of government because the supreme power lies with the leaders. No. The supreme power lies with the rich and powerful? No. The supreme power lies with us people? Of course, yes. So it is option number B. So this is your correct answer. So with this we finish our book work. and then I have also sent you a PDF file of the question answers that you need to do in your SST notebook. Many of you have done. I have received a message from your side, and those who have not done, please do so. So with this we finish chapter number 3. So next we are going to start chapter number 4 of civics, which is in continuation of this chapter only. So we'll start with chapter number 4 in the next video, that is democratic government. So we'll be studying the democratic government in detail. So I just want you that you should read this chapter, and not much I'll give you. Only 3 pages are there for this chapter. So just read it so that when I discuss with you important points, you are able to understand those key points. So we'll be discussing democratic government in detail. We'll be dealing with the democracy, the meaning of democracy again, and the origin of the word democracy, from where did it come. So then we'll be discussing the salient features of democracy, like what it should have. Then we'll be discussing about the racism, the apartheid movement that was started in the country of South Africa. It was there, and who fought for it? Nelson Mandela. So we'll be studying all that, and then we'll be studying about the public opinion. What is it? What is public opinion? So then we'll be studying about 1 or 2 examples of conflict, like how a conflict can arise in different states, on what matters, and how it can be resolved. So all these things we'll be studying in a democratic government. So be prepared for that. Do come prepared by reading this chapter, lesson number 4 of your civics. So that's all for today. Stay safe, stay